Isn't the universe itself a place of wonder and awe? Hello, everyone. Even seasoned astronauts may encounter strange and shocking phenomena in space. Isn't it remarkable? For instance, sightings of flying serpents or unidentified objects are not uncommon. Are you ready to hear such tales? If you are, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to our channel. So, let's get started. Eugene Cernan. Before humanity's first lunar landing with Apollo 11, Apollo 10 conducted a test flight orbiting the moon. This served as a rehearsal for the main mission, and recordings of it still exist. The objective of this test was to detach and redock the lunar module from the spacecraft. Astronauts Eugene Cernan and Thomas Stafford boarded the lunar module, while John Young remained in the command module. In the recordings, Eugene Cernan, one of the astronauts, can be heard saying, "You hear that? That whistling sound? Boy, that sure is weird music." At that moment, the spacecraft was on the far side of the moon. Naturally, being the farthest from Earth, everything around them seemed strange. The eerie hum resembled something out of a sci-fi movie, like alien sounds. "You know, that was funny," Cernan said in the transcript. "That's just like something from outer space, really. Who's going to believe it?" His colleague John Young replied, "Nobody. Shall we tell them about it?" Cernan responded, "I don't know. We ought to think about it some." Perhaps the crew didn't take the incident seriously, or perhaps they took it too seriously. Otherwise, they would have surely shared the strange whistling with everyone. However, this story remained unnoticed until decades later, when it was featured in a program called NASA's Unexplained Files on the Science Channel, highlighting this recording. The true nature of this space music remains unknown. It might be interference from radio waves. What do you think? Story Musgrave. A star in the realm of space, Story Musgrave. He's an astronaut who embarked on 6 flights beyond Earth and remains the only person to have flown on all 5 space shuttles. Formerly the most academically accomplished person to travel in space, he holds 6 degrees: bachelor's in mathematics and statistics, master's in business administration, physiology and biophysics, arts, doctorates in medicine and chemistry. Needless to say, he's not just a veteran astronaut, but also a scientist. He has witnessed much and has dared to speak about the extraordinary. Recall the NASA incident of 1995. During the documentary program Sightings, Musgrave claimed to have seen snakes in space, not just once, but multiple times, shocking the public. "On 2 of my missions, and I still don't have an answer. I have seen a snake out there, 6, 7, 8 feet long. It is rubbery because it has internal waves in it, and it follows you for a rather long period of time." Musgrave didn't mention this fact in his report to NASA upon returning to Earth. Perhaps you can understand the reason for that. Making such a statement might have ended his career as an astronaut. The more you fly in space, the more you see an incredible amount of things out there. And that sort of brings to you, really, a certainty that other living creatures are out there. Some incredibly primitive, more primitive, some just proteins coming together, amino acids, and some just single-celled organisms, and other civilizations that have been around for 1,000,000 years that are doing unimaginable kinds of things. Does Story believe the snake he saw is a genuine alien? In an interview, he acknowledges that the 7-foot snake might have been the main engine's rubber seal. In zero gravity, seals with rubber-like properties can freely float and undulate. It's an extraordinary ballet. Liwei. In October 2003, China sent its first astronaut, Liwei, into space. He departed aboard the Shenzhou 5 spacecraft, launched into orbit by the Long March 2F rocket. It's natural for the first flight to come with tension and stress. Hence, the Chinese authorities decided not to broadcast the mission live, fearing sudden malfunctions. Yang already faced issues at the outset. 2 minutes after liftoff, he reported uncomfortable vibrations. However, the mission progressed relatively smoothly thereafter, with regular updates indicating all was well. It was only upon the capsule's landing that reporters noticed Yang's bleeding lips in the photos, indicating a rough landing. The severity of the conditions during the flight remains unknown. However, years later, Yang Liwei recounted hearing someone knocking on the spacecraft's hull with a metal hammer, like striking an iron bucket during the flight. Moreover, he added, the sound didn't come from outside or inside the spacecraft. Hearing the knocking, he peered out the window but saw nothing unusual. Upon returning to Earth, Yang tried to reproduce the sounds he heard during the flight so that his colleagues could identify the issue. However, no specific results were obtained. Considering there are few atoms and molecules in space, sound waves cannot propagate. So, it's peculiar to hear any sound at all. The knocking sound is speculated to have been caused by debris colliding with the spacecraft's hull, but this explanation merely attempts to logically account for what Yang experienced. Scott Kelly. Astronaut Scott Kelly has visited space 4 times and has seen many things. However, the strangest incident occurred during a flight test on Earth. I remember one time I was flying in the warning areas off of the Virginia Beach military operating area there, and my RIO, Radar Intercept Officer, thought the guy that sits in the back of the Tomcat was convinced we flew by a UFO. So I didn't see it. So what did Kelly's colleagues see? Perhaps no one will ever know. Some of you might be eager to make a guess, right? Now, let's hear the answer from Scott Kelly himself. We turned around and went to go look at it. It turns out it was Bart Simpson, a balloon. Gordon Cooper. Gordon Cooper, the youngest of the so-called original 7 astronauts, has witnessed many things throughout his career. During the Mercury Atlas 9 solo mission, Gordon spent a full day in space, becoming the first American to sleep in space. On the Gemini 5 mission, he orbited the Earth 120 times, setting the record for the longest space flight. However, Gordon Cooper had also encountered a UFO before his first space flight, over West Germany. More precisely, he saw it in photographs taken over West Germany. One day in 1957, his team members James Biddick and Jack Geddes returned looking stunned, reporting seeing an odd disc-shaped aircraft. While spoken reports alone might not be conclusive, they had photographic evidence. Cooper immediately reported this incident to the Pentagon. The Pentagon instructed him to develop the film and send it, but strictly prohibited making copies of the photos. However, they did not forbid him from viewing the film itself. Upon viewing the film, Cooper saw exactly what Geddes and Biddick had described. Yet, the Pentagon chose to remain silent about the matter. Why do you think that might be? Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. The flight of Apollo 11 is surrounded by many mysterious rumors based on conspiracy theories. Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon, famously said, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." While this phrase is well known to anyone interested in space, there are plenty of people who believe NASA is hiding something, each with their own theories. There are even stories that Armstrong said something like this: "What was it? What the hell was it? That's all I want to know. These babies were huge, sir. Oh God, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, there are other spacecrafts out there. They're lined up in ranks on the far side of the crater edge." Of course, this suggests the presence of extraterrestrial life. However, there is no documentary evidence to support this claim. But Buzz Aldrin's actual statement, "On Apollo 11 en route to the moon, I observed a light out the window that appeared to be moving alongside us," made during the Apollo 11 journey to the moon, has sparked much speculation. Aldrin explains that there could be many reasons for the phenomenon he observed. There were many explanations of what that could be, other than another spacecraft from another country or another world. It was either the rocket we had separated from, or the 4 panels that moved away when we extracted the lander from the rocket. And I feel absolutely convinced that we were looking at the sun reflected off of one of these panels. Which one? I don't know. So technically, the definition could be unidentified. Today's story comes to an end here. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Thank you very much. Let's continue to follow the news from space together. Well then, it's time to say goodbye for now. See you all again very soon. Goodbye.